live.
There you go.
How do you know it's live?
Yes, because I have a green light and it says live right now. Okay. So hello everyone and welcome to this new episode of the TOT Doctors Roundtable. If you haven't already, please subscribe by hitting that red button and the notification bells. You won't miss anything. So today we have on our panel Dr. Eric Serrano. Welcome, Eric.
Welcome. Thank you. Actually, I'm apologizing for not being there yesterday. I know Danny asked me to share why. Well, first of all, the first time I was traveling and I forgot that I was going to be, the flight got canceled and they changed it. I couldn't be there because I had to be on a flight. And yesterday, during the weather here changes, I'm from Puerto Rico. I'm brown skin. I cannot handle cold weather. And I get these things called cluster headaches and they kill me. And yesterday I was great. And then all of a sudden the weather changed. It dropped 24 degrees in freaking an hour. And it just hit me. And then I couldn't see crap. I go blind one eye and that's what happens. And I couldn't talk. So that's my apologies to the viewers and you too.
No problem. You're excused, Eric. And the other man, for the viewers watching that wouldn't know, Danny Bossa. Welcome, Danny.
Thanks, Steven. How's it going?
Yes, I'm fine. Thanks. And welcome both of you for being here. So these two guys, together with many others, are in our closed and free Facebook group, TRT and Hormone Optimization Therapy, HOT. And if you're watching this, you surely must be interested. And if you haven't already, please do join that group as well. The link you will find under this video. So this time, Danny has a bunch of questions for Dr. Eric Serrano. But before we start off with that, in previous episodes, we already had some introductions to Danny's TRT experience. Keith Nichols and Scott Howells also talked about how they got into optimizing hormones. But since it's your first appearance here on my TOT Doctors Roundtable, Dr. Eric Serrano, maybe tell us how you got into optimizing hormones.
You know, I don't want to say my clinic doesn't even specialize on that. It was an accident. I used to see a lot of athletes. Okay, I don't want to say what type, but I used to see a lot of athletes. And to win, okay, you have to use help. Let me put it that way.
Supplements.
Supplements. And some of those supplements were hormones. I do want to say this to the viewers. When you read a book, an athlete winning a championship and the workouts, be aware that the guy that won the gold medal, the guy that won the championship, I know he's writing his diet, he's writing his workouts, but do not follow those because they're helped by supplements. Now, when the patients or the clients or whoever was coming to see me and they were on those hormones or supplements, I was forced to find out what was going on. I was forced to learn. And I would say I have learned a lot from my patients. And the reason I did that, it was because they would come with a list of things, a list of supplements, a list of side effects, a list of complaints that I was not aware of. They don't teach us in medical school. And once I start seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, they start coming to my office. It's kind of funny because 99% of them wanted to get better and they wanted to come off of those supplements. And that's how I started to see hormones. I want to add that as a physician, I have learned more from my mistake than my success. And you know, most people talk, I'm not an expert. I want to say this in the interview right now. I'm not an expert because I have made many mistakes. And an expert is not the one that gets it better, is the one that doesn't make a mistake. And through the years, I'm still making mistakes, but I have so many patients that are on hormones or are coming off hormones or they want to start hormones. And that's how I learned about hormones. About reading, I read nonstop. I want to mention a couple of names out there. One is Neil Rozier. I'm sure you guys know him. Actually, I argue with Neil. I still do. Neil knows that. And there's another guy that many people do not know much about him. His name is Mauro Di Pasquale. And Mauro wrote an amazing book. And he's old now. Mauro, you hear me, you're going to kill me. Actually, he's freaking old. He's 73 years old now. But the base of knowledge from this guy is incredible. And he's still doing research. He's still putting in a newsletter. I mean, he still teaches me, and it's amazing what he taught me through the years. Again, the most important people have been my patients that taught me a lot, and that's how I learned.
Okay, of course, that's very interesting. So, Danny, fire away with some questions you prepared for Eric.
Sure. I just got to say, guys, for those of you who don't know who Eric is, just Google him. Don't take my word for it. Just Google him. You know the expression, you know, if you see a bunch of people jump off a bridge, you're going to jump it off too. The only time you should jump off the bridge is if Eric Serrano tells you to jump off the bridge. If Eric Serrano tells you to do it, you do it. Okay. This guy speaks the truth. He knows his stuff. And we go back and forth about stuff all the time. So Eric, there's been a lot of people in the group who are still transitioning from the whole notion of taking an AI where you have to be between 20 and 30 and not taking an AI. And I know you've got a ton of experience and knowledge when it comes to estrogen and estradiol and estrone and all this type of stuff. So what's happening with a lot of the guys that we're telling them to get off the AI is they're saying, well, as soon as I get off the AI, I have ED, I have no libido. You know, I give my body the time to adjust. Months go by, I still feel like crap. I get back on the AI, and suddenly, you know, everything is working again. So what is it? Now, it's my understanding, and you could probably go into much more detail about this. It's my understanding that when they're taking the AI, they're more of their test is staying as test because less of it is converting to E2. So they're actually getting a boost in testosterone. That boost in testosterone could be helping. If they're getting off the AI and more of it is aromatizing to E2, maybe they just need to up their dose a little bit more to get their free T into a good range. Keith Nichols always says 30 to 50 NGDLs when where his guys feel good. And if they get to their free T to that point and they're still having issues, it could very well be thyroid. If there's issue with free T3, that could also be causing libido and ED. And it's really got nothing to do with this E2 whatsoever. My E2 is triple what it used to be. And when I had my E2 at 20 something, I was useless as a man. And now it's at 40, 45 or something like that, and I have no issues. So maybe you can go into a little bit of detail in regards to that.
Okay, I like science a lot, and I don't just look at one thing. So I'm going to get a little bit more complicated here now. Number one is every patient is different. I do want to say that, and in my case, I have seen so many. Have I used AIs? Yes. Have I stopped them? Yes. Have I restart patients AIs? Yes. I don't use AI like I used to, but my clientele at one time was using a lot of AI, but they were taking 3, 4, 6 supplements, which of course we do other things. At one time on my practice, I will measure actually estradiol, estrone, because I wanted to see what will happen with the different sources of testosterone in this case. If it's oral, will it do something? If it's the injection, will it do something? If it's cream, will it do something else? So I looked at all that. I even looked at iron levels, how testosterone increases the absorption of iron from the gut. People don't know that, but that happens. And that's how hemoglobin actually goes up. Well, when I started looking at this, I had people that were doing perfect. And then they all of a sudden they tell me, you know, Eric, I went in the black market and I went and took an AI and I felt better. Okay, some of those people were taking a lot of things. Now I want to explain some things. When you're taking testosterone, you have estrogen, and you're taking testosterone, your LH, FSH might go down to 0, which absolutely makes a difference on your sperm count. It makes a difference maybe in your erections, and makes a difference on your brain. Who knows what it does? For example, I have people that were taking testosterone and they started HCG because we're going to win them off because they want to get their partner pregnant. And all of a sudden they say, hey, my erections are better. I want to say a few things because we're talking about men here and erections in particular. Okay, if you're in a low carbohydrate diet and you're in a low carbohydrate diet for more than 6 weeks, okay, that's going to affect your erections. And then if you eat carbohydrates, all of a sudden you can have a great erection. Number one. Number two is you're taking an AI, not only you are blocking LH-FSH is already low, and you're taking an AI, the body might need some LH-FSH to have an erection, and all of a sudden it responds to that AI. My favorite one was not an AI, but I used tamoxifen or what is called a beta estrogen blocker receptor. And I did that on purpose to make sure that the body read, hey, there's no really estrogen. I need to increase my LH-FSH, and they responded better. And I want to correct one thing that I did say. To be honest, I rarely use AI unless it was a bodybuilder. And the bodybuilder was using many drugs, okay? On most of my patients, if I was going to use something, it would never be an AI, it will be a tamoxifen. And the reason I will do that is because I wanted to block, quote unquote, those effects that the patient was having. Might be what they call in the internet bitch tits or gynecomastia. And I want to admit to you guys, I do have guys that do get it. That might be because they have less CAG or more CAGs, or CAG stands for the receptors saturation in the body, and some of those guys will have it. I have a guy that absolutely measures his estrogen levels every other day. And you know what? I have it on my phone, and I was going to show it to you guys how this guy wanted his levels between 20 and 40. And if they go 55, I cannot have erections. And if they go 18, he could have an erection. I don't know, it was more of a placebo reading the numbers, but this guy was always in my office. And he's a computer freak, by the way, Danny. He had detail after detail every week. I mean, he responded to the tamoxifen, yes, but he's 1 in a million. I would say this, out of 100 people that I see, maybe 1 or 2 might need a quote unquote tamoxifen. I do use tamoxifen to restart your HPA axis, but I rarely use Arimidex or any other AI, especially with the elbow pain that they get, knee pain that they get. Some people get headaches, some people get depression. Now, saying that, let's go back and answer your question. How come I respond to an AI if, now, well, LH-FSH might be coming up? I don't have the answer, but that can probably be one. Now, 2 is, one thing I found out is in my patients is I just don't look at hormone levels. I go into I look at macronutrients because they're very, very important. And I have a lot of research on this. I look at zinc, magnesium, copper. I might look at lead and mercury. For example, I have cases with the guy said, you know what, I feel good, but I don't feel great. But then his mercury levels are super high. So I have to look at all that. Another example is vitamin D. If your vitamin D is really low, and for me it's less than 60, and I do not know what kind of level Steven uses, but I put on vitamin D and it comes back. They start responding. Now, it's kind of funny that Danny says, well, if you have a hypothyroid, all of a sudden you get erections. Yes, you can absolutely get erections, but you're forgetting something also. The thyroid to work requires something called a thyroid receptor, which a thyroid receptor is a vitamin A dependent receptor. So it's called retinoic acid thyroid receptor. And in some people, actually, you can give them thyroid, they don't have erections, you give them vitamin A. And by the way, my vitamin A levels you guys are going to shit bricks when I tell you what I give the patients, are much higher. All of a sudden, they say, hey, I can't have erections again. I don't get a call anymore. All those things start happening with that client. So I have to look at all the things just beside that. I also want to say this: if you have a copper excess, and it doesn't have to be that you have a low zinc, or you have a high copper than zinc, that can also induce erectile dysfunction. Why? How do I know? Because I've seen all my patients put them on zinc, not that the zinc was low, which is lower than the copper, and they respond. So I have to look at the whole picture. Sometimes as we are physicians, we go to the beach, grab a pile of sand in our hand, we look at the sand and we forget the sunset, we forget the ocean, we forget the fish, and we need to look at the whole picture. I hope that answered your question there.
When you said that you use it in rare cases, do you use it in rare cases with your athlete types on the supplements, or do you use it in rare cases with your regular patients just on TRT?
No, usually, I cannot tell you regular patients. No, I have never used an AI for a regular patient. Now that I think about it, I use AI for the bodybuilders and people like that, but never AI. I use tamoxifen for regular people, but never an AI. And that's a great question, Danny. Now that I think about it, no, I have no use for a regular person. And I used to measure estradiol, estrone. I used to measure all of them.
Can you explain I guess you probably know about this. What is the reason a bodybuilder would tend to take an AI from time to time? What is the effect of that? What is the benefit that a bodybuilder may see by taking an AI that a regular Joe like me on TRT doesn't?
I used to see a lot of bodybuilders. I mean, my practice at one time was 30% power lifters and bodybuilders. Okay, what is the average? And this, I don't want to make this up. I'm telling you guys, what is the average of a pro bodybuilder? How many drugs do you think they take? Give me a number.
6, 7 at least.
Steven, do you know?
No idea.
Okay, average drug for a bodybuilder is about 14 drugs. When you get to the top, maybe 22 drugs. Okay,
Jeez.
so okay, I'm gonna give you a little cocktail. Okay, so the guy would take Sustanon, Winstrol, Deca, Anadrol, Trenbolone, and Primo all at the same time.
Oh,
so here you have, and I'm not making this up. I can tell you weird cases. But of course, when you're taking all those, so your estrogen levels will go up. But it's not those only estrogen levels. There are other type of estrogen that we do not even know that they exist. You know, there's 2-methoxy, 4-hydroxy, all those estrogen that supposedly we can measure, but there are other estrogens out there that we urinate actually out. But again, you know, those guys are taking so much that of course there's going to be a repercussion. It's like drinking too much water. Water is amazing. You need it for life, but if you drink too much, then your sodium go down, you can even die. So when you're taking that many drugs, something has to give up. It's either your testosterone level, it's your estrogen level. So of course you have to use it, and that's why they block it.
Yeah,
gotcha.
that's incredible. About those vitamin D levels, Eric, you said higher than 60. Here on our labs, it's 40 to 100, which is normal actually. But I take 10,000 IUs a day and I still get my levels up to 48, for example. Is that because of low quality of the supplements I take, or?
Okay, first of all, I don't know, Steven, I don't know which supplement you're taking, but I don't want you to go only by level. So let me explain. This is a different ball of wax. I love vitamin D, and I see one of the biggest experts is a guy named Alex Vasquez. Dr. Vasquez is actually in Spain. He's amazing. He's a friend of mine, and he writes, I know vitamin D, how would I call it? I'm a baby, and he's the old master on this. But I will say this, I read a lot of books. There's a few issues with vitamin D. First of all, you have absorption in the gut. Number 2, if you have a gallbladder or you don't have a gallbladder. 3, are you taking it by yourself? By the way, Steven, never, ever, 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 ever take vitamin D by itself. You can never, ever do that. Let me explain to you why. Vitamin D increases absorption of calcium. Calcium goes into plaques. You're taking vitamin D and you are eating calcium levels that are high. Yes, it will make it go up. That calcium can go anywhere. To activate a hormone called osteocalcium, and those are another little secret, requires vitamin K. You can never ever take vitamin D without vitamin K. Now, Steven has a great question. Is my absorption compromised? Absolutely. If your boron levels are low, the absorption of vitamin D is compromised. If your level of magnesium is low, the absorption of the vitamin D is compromised. Why? Because absorption in the gut is very complicated and require receptors and require little things to reactivate it. Now we need to look about also if your vitamin D receptor working. That's a huge. Are you guys familiar with the VDR mutation or not?
Yeah. I wish I was.
But no, that's okay. For example, people in Ireland suffer the most depression in the world. Then in Switzerland, higher suicidal rate. They have low vitamin D levels, but they almost all of them has low vitamin, or they have low VDR. And VDR is the vitamin is called VDR because vitamin D receptor. Okay, if you have, let's suppose I have a level of 150 in my blood, and the doctor's going to tell you, oh my God, you're toxic. Well, no, you're not toxic. Your vitamin D receptors are not working. That means you need to overcome the little receptor, the small amount of receptor you have to be able to do it. There's also a vitamin D carrier. Are you guys familiar with that or not? No. Okay. There's a vitamin D protein. Okay, and this vitamin D is fat, so you can just can't take it out. So some of them might be on the HDL, LDL. Who knows? I'm sure there is. But there's a specific vitamin D carrier that will take the vitamin D to what needs to be worked up. Okay, and you know the liver makes vitamin D2 that has to be converted to vitamin D3, and that goes into the kidney. So now here is Steven asking me a great question. Well, Steven, you said that you take 10,000. I take 20,000, okay, every day. And my vitamin D levels, I never measure. By the way, I never do labs. The only time I do blood work is when I have to have a life insurance for my kid, and I'm forced to do it. I'm a wussy for needles. I don't like them. So, for example, if I have a person that have low boron and low magnesium, and he's taking 10,000 vitamin D, and the levels are not coming up, I give him boron, the levels go up. Okay, so I want you guys to learn that, and I have the papers. I will, if I'm making something up, I will go. This is a Serrano theory. There's no paper out there, but I'm not making this up. So you require boron and magnesium to absorb the vitamin D. So if your levels are also low, be aware of that. If zinc levels are also low, you have a vitamin D reabsorption issue. Now, another thing, if you have a gallbladder removed because your bile is compromised, now you're going to have low levels of vitamin D also. So I have to look at all that. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Also, how are you taking your vitamin D? Are you taking it with food or are you taking it empty stomach, Steven?
I'm taking it before my dinner.
Okay, I'm gonna beat Steven here. No, I want to take it with dinner because when you eat fat and vitamin D, the absorption increases. Now, again, if you're gonna take vitamin D, you need to take it with vitamin K. It will absolutely compromise the absorption of the vitamin D. Also, vitamin K will bind to osteocalcin, make the calcium go into the bone where it's supposed to go. And if we need bone, if we need calcium, our biggest reserve is the bone. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Hey, I need calcium. I'm going to take it from the bone. I can pull it out. But we need vitamin K. So never and ever, ever take vitamin D without vitamin K.
Okay,
so
thanks.
Boron, zinc, vitamin K, calcium, magnesium. Would you say that generally speaking, everyone should be supplementing with those as well? Or are you only supplementing if there's a measurable deficiency that's been detected in a blood test?
Great question. It depends, Danny. Is this person eating fat? Because a lot of people that will come to my office, oh, I'm eating low fat because I'm going to get fat. On those people, I will absolutely do ADEC, ADE, and K, all the fat soluble vitamins. And I do them together because there's a guy named GOD, okay, that knows more than MDs and PTs and everybody else. For some reason, he created proteins without fat. And the fat soluble vitamins come with fat and they all come together. They don't come apart ever. There's a reason for that. Like people eat egg whites. Well, the chicken shits the egg and the yolk together. Why are you going to separate it? You know, the reason is fat slows down the digestive system enough so you can break down your protein so you can prevent absolutely allergies or insensitivity to food. So that's why it's so important to do that. Now, I will always ask the client or the patient, what are you eating first? When are you eating these foods? And then I go into that. But yes, I will measure levels. And then depending on the levels, I will recommend something. Now, I will always have a multivitamin. I'll tell everybody to take a multivitamin. Why? Because the foods today, I know what they used to. The foods today don't have the vitamins and the macronutrients that they have before. And they're not cooked right and they're not processed right. All this other stuff that I don't want to go into it. But I would recommend everybody to have a multivitamin that is good, that you should be able to compensate for some of those deficiencies.
I did read an article, sorry, Steven, I did read an article lately I saw online, and I don't know if it was bullshit or if it was true, but apparently there's some researchers, and I have to find the damn article. They said something along the lines of taking high doses of vitamin D long-term could potentially be harmful.
Okay.
Have you seen anything about that?
There's one article specifically, and I think this is the one that Danny's talking about. The guy was in a foreign country, and he was flying back, and he had high levels of calcium. That's the one you're taking, and he has hypercalcinosis of the kidneys.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, that is a suspicious paper because when I look at the data, if you look at the graph they have, at one point in time, the vitamin D was low, but the calcium was still high. So that was kind of suspicious. Something else is going on with that guy. In that guy, I will check vitamin K. I will check other things to see why he developed hypercalcinosis. Now, there's a guy named Jeffrey Bland that he presented a case many years ago. I think it was 1998 or 96 of a guy taking 1 million IUs of vitamin D for 6 months. Let me repeat this close to my microphone. 1 million, 1 time to the 10 to the 6. He was taking it for 6 months and he developed kidney stones. Now, quote unquote, the guy already in history had had kidney stones before. So did the vitamin D cause the kidney stones? Who knows? But he had a propensity to have kidney stones. I do not know. DHEA BDR mutation. We have no idea. Now, I have an accent, as you can tell, Stephen, like you do. And I told one of my patients with psoriasis, severe psoriasis all over the body. And I said, well, you know what? Start vitamin D. And I said, go up to 10,000. Well, my patient understood go up until my skin rash goes away. I never said that. So he came back. Actually, this is 8 weeks later. He comes back and he's with a tank top. He never wear a tank top because he had patches all over. He had no patches whatsoever. And he's high-fiving me. Yeah, you know what? I think what you're telling me. I said, oh yeah, I feel like a rooster on my, on the chicken coop, until he tells me, well, I'm taking 80,000 IUs. I go, what? I said, hell no. You're toxic. I didn't want to measure, you know what I'm saying, Steven? I didn't want to measure levels. Because I said, shit, no, you can't do that. You can't take 80,000 and go down to 40,000. We win you up. Well, I win it up around 40,000. He calls me 3 days later. And I know this patient really well. He says, Serrano, screw you. I go, what? What's going on? Danny, that's his name, Danny. I told him, he said, why? I said, dude, I went down to 40,000. My rash came back. My elbows are hurting. My knees are hurting. No, I'm going to take 80,000. I had never checked his levels, by the way. I'm not going to check them, but that's where he feels comfortable. Can I do a BDR? Can I do all that? I can, but he's a guy that doesn't have too much money. I don't charge him on the practice, so I don't want to do any of those testing, but he feels good with vitamin D at 80,000. I did check a urine to make sure there was, calcium, nothing messing up, because the urine dipstick is for free. But, he feels great at that. The highest level that I have somebody in my office, I think, is melatonin is 80 milligrams. Vitamin D, I think this is a guy taking 150 on his own, not me. And he's a hockey player. So
could it be absorption issues? Kind of like some people don't absorb tests all that well, so they need a higher dose to get their levels a certain amount.
Absolutely. It's like any substance. Absolutely.
Barely absorbs, so he's got to take a ton of it to get his levels up.
Stephen, if you have I see patients with ulcerative colitis, a lot of protein enterocolitis, maple syrup syndrome, and things like that. And I have some people that might not absorb the vitamin D because they have an issue with the intestines. I tell them, hey, take vitamin D in oil, break it down, and put it on your skin. It will absorb through the skin.
Yeah.
So don't forget that. So
okay. I had two questions coming back to your points. First, why are daily recommendations for vitamin D are, for example, only 500 IUs issued by your government or whatever? Why is that?
Okay, this is easy to answer. We have a big conglomerate of what would I call it?
I know what you're going to say.
Pharmaceutical companies, let me put it that way, right? And those companies don't want you to be healthy. I do not make money you being healthy. I make money you being sick, number one. Number two is when they do vitamin Ds, I want you to think about this, Stephen. Do you think that the vitamin D in Switzerland, Antarctica, Eskimos, is it the same as us in Puerto Rico? Or does a black guy absorb more vitamin D or less vitamin D than a white person? There's all these questions. When I'm preparing diets, I need to know where you're from. I need to know your race. Why? Because it's going to dictate what I'm going to do with you. And for example, people in Antarctica, right, or in Greenland, yes, they have low sun, low vitamin D in the sunlight. Well, how much fat do those people eat? They don't have fruits to go pick up on the trees. They don't have any freaking vegetable to go get. What do? They hunt whales, they hunt, seals, which have fat on it, and they have to eat that fat that has vitamin D on it. So for me, it depends what I'm looking for and what I'm doing with that client, what their background is. Do I need more? For example, black people are protected by the sun because they have darker skin. So the production of vitamin D will be lower. Is that why they get more prostate cancer, Stephen? I don't know the answer, but they get more aggressive cancer than the white people. Do they require more vitamin D now? Well, this is the problem. Especially African Americans, okay, in the United States are African Americans descendant from blacks from Africa, where in Africa the sun is intense, okay? Here in the United States, you live on the northern latitude, the sun is not intense. Now, what's happened to your vitamin D levels? Well, they have less retention of vitamin D. They have less sun. Yes, the vitamin D levels, quote unquote, will be normal. And I'm going to answer your question how they came out with the vitamin D. Okay, with any vitamin, they're called the RDA or RDI, one you're using, okay? And what they do is, okay, we're gonna take 100 people and we're gonna measure their levels, even thyroid. This is what happened with TSH also. Oh, are you okay? Yes. Boom, blood test, blood test. So we take an average population, and it might be whites, it might be blacks, where women included, all these things that we need to ask, which they were not, by the way. But that's what would tell us, oh, we got an average of this level. That's what we're going to use. And I have a big issue with that. Even vitamin A, which is, they tell you that you can get vitamin A toxic. Stephen, on all your years as a physician, have you ever seen a vitamin A toxicity?
Never.
I had never seen one. And I take, if I tell you how much vitamin A I take, and actually I have a little cocktail when people start having the flu, I recommend 100, let me get the microscope. I recommend 100,000 IUs of vitamin A every day, plus vitamin D, plus vitamin C, plus vitamin E at high dosages. I might do that for 2 months. Never seen vitamin A. And on children, I use vitamin A 50,000. If you have the flu, the chicken pox or something, I go ahead and give you vitamin A 50,000 for 7 days because I'm going to beat that virus immediately. And if you look at the physiology and you look at even the research, vitamin A used to be used. If you had chicken pox, they give you in the office of a physician, the ones that were good, they give you 150,000 and you shot. Within 24 hours, the chicken pox was almost gone, which is incredible. It is out there, but of course, we do not know. So I may add that.
Mm-hmm. And the second question, coming back on all what you said, the vitamin K, what type is it? 1 or 2, and what dose is recommended?
Okay. I'm a little bit, there's vitamin K from plants and there's vitamin K from animals, okay? So I believe that we were put here to eat animals, sorry. If not, the animals will take over the world, okay? So there's vitamin K7. I think that's as known also, Stephen, in your country. There's K2, K7.
Yes.
There are many, but vitamin 2 and vitamin K7. I would say this. I will use 100 micrograms, but it depends on what I'm doing with. There's a prescription. Look at that. There's a prescription vitamin D in the United States. It's called Doxoquin. And and I don't remember right now what the dosages are, but I can look it up, and they're pretty decent. And they use vitamin D and vitamin K together. If you're consuming vitamin D, you need to consume vitamin K together. Never ever use it alone. I don't ever, because you're gonna have issues. Just make sure of that.
Okay, thanks a lot. So, any questions from the baby there?
Baby, you got questions? No questions from the baby, no.
Okay, Danny, you?
Eric, maybe you can talk about this.
Yes, sir.
There are people that have no symptoms. They have no AD, they have no libido, they're retaining muscle, they're putting on muscle at the gym, they sleep well, they're eating well, everything is great. But they still are under the delusion that they're not optimized, because there's some people on the internet that need to sell books and need memberships and need YouTube views and need whatever to make a living. We know what we're talking about here. And they say, no, you have to be optimized. If you're optimized, you're having sex 5 times a day and you're looking like this and you're feeling like, and you wake up and you feel amazing and everything's amazing. Okay.
Oh, you're doing that really nice. You have seen that several times before.
I have. Everything's amazing. Life's amazing. Okay. In my opinion, if you have no symptoms, you're optimized. Don't touch it. Don't take anything else. You're good. Leave it alone.
Why would you? I don't take anything. The only thing I take is DHEA and a bunch of vitamins, okay? I do take supplements because I used to compete and I take amino acids and things like that, but I don't take any hormones right now. And Neil makes fun of me, oh, you're going to get old. And I said, sometimes I feel it. But, I'm going to be 57 this year, and I feel great. I have no complaints. Do I have the energy that I had 5 years, 10 years ago? Of course I don't, but, I can go and move hay. I can go work with the cows. I can work and do all those things. Can I still lift weights? I can move the weight still, but optimization for me is how you feel. And the best way to describe this is, I have a lot of people that have money. I have 5 billionaires in my practice. Okay, and I'm going to say this: money can buy you a book. Or can he buy you knowledge? No. Money can buy you company, but can I give you love? No. Money can buy you a bed. Can I buy you sleep? Well, the same thing with the levels. You know, I have people that have freaking levels, and this is a best sample. I had a guy that is, I remember this, total testosterone 984, right? The free only 8. Okay. Now I looked at everything. I looked at everything on this guy. His vitamin D were very, very, very low. I think they were 24 or 26. His zinc levels were low. I corrected those, right, Stephen? And his free jumped down to 17, with up to, I don't know levels again in Denmark, Stephen, but I think those are close enough to be normal in any lab. And he tells me, Eric, I still don't feel good. I said, okay, you know what? Let me do 25 every day of testosterone, see how you feel. He comes back, I feel wonderful. Very small dose. But now he's free. I mean, his total is still the same. I think he went to 1,012 or something like that, which is not a much difference, but the free went to 27. And that's why he feels great, which is not a high level, but it's still, it's a maybe 7 above normal, depending on the labs you use. And he feels great. 25. Sperm is normal. He has kids. You know, when I met him, he was only 26. You know, now he feels great. So optimization for me is, how do you feel? Do you feel good? I'm not going to do blood tests. If you feel good, why do blood tests? Why mess with it? Don't do it. Optimization for me is, how do you feel? Are you healthy? Now, I'm going to say this. You need to have a balance. For example, I have guys that have levels of 290, and they feel awesome. Why? My wife loves me. My children are doing good. I have a great life. I don't have no issues. Now I have guys that had levels of, you know, I'm going to give you an example. I had a guy that came to me, Steven, and he couldn't have erections, right? This guy is 38 years old. He's from California, and he's a bodybuilder. And he tell me, well, how much tests are you taking? 12,000. Let me say that, 12 grams a week. Okay. And the reason was because his friends would tell him, oh, you just need more testosterone. You just need more testosterone. You just need more testosterone, which is usually the answer. Why would I even measure the levels? Honestly, what are they going to be? I mean, he can transfuse me blood and give me testosterone for a whole year, you know? So I said, you know what? You don't have erections because you have no estrogen. And he said, oh, you're full of shit. Give me my money back. You know, I don't want to see you. He left. I give him his money back. He left, right? But I told him, if you stop, he did tell me I'm taking AIs. I said, you stop your AI, you will get your erection. This guy took his money back, $400, right? Took it back. 3 months later, this guy comes back. I go, what the hell? What are you doing here, dude? You took your money back. And he paid 400 on the front. And he gave me 400 to back to me. I said, I owe you an apology. And I said, why? I said, I checked my estrogen levels, they were 0. Okay. And 0. Once I stopped, it took me 3 months. I lowered my dose like you told me, and I was absolutely feeling way better. Way better. Now, one thing is, I have followed 3 levels, Steven, and there's people that are on the 7 and 8 that feel wonderful. No more erections, no issues. So why mess with them? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to touch them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, any more questions, Danny?
I want to talk about estrogen a little bit here too.
Sure,
Yes,
good.
I had
well,
one question.
Because I absolutely want to answer the AI, and I want to be very, very specific now, Danny. And I didn't want to get into it and say, what the hell? Danny's annoying as hell. Danny's like that patient that knows the law and come and pokes you like a nurse. You know, Steven, they know, but they don't know enough, but they make you like miserable. Okay. There's something called COMT, catechol-amyl methyltransferase. Okay. There's something also called MAO, and there's detoxification. And there's detoxification in medical school. We learn phase 1 and phase 2, correct? But there's phase 0 and there's phase 3, which is NRF2. It has to do with the balance, all that. But there's some people, and Danny, this is what I want to explain to you, and I want to get into it because do I have time, Stephen, or are we limit, or can we talk?
Yeah, talk. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, you have a guy that is taking testosterone, right? And the guy that complains, you know what, I don't feel good if I don't take, and this is why I say there's people that are going to need it. Had a catechol-amyl methyltransferase mutation, a B1687, okay? that person cannot metabolize estrogen correctly. So that person might have a 2-hydroxy or a 4-hydroxy issue in which it binds to his DNA, preventing that person to work normally. So it's not the estrogen level, it's what the person has at the end of the route that requires to clean that estrogen that is not letting him do what he's supposed to do. I have to look at that. I also have to look at methylation. And I don't know if you guys know too much about methylation. I have to look at all that stuff because I have people that, Danny, like, come, I'm on testosterone, my estrogens, I feel like crap. And then I check those mutations and they have it. We correct the I would say the macronutrients required to activate those, and it will be crazy. Now I'm going to put Steven and Danny on the spot here. I love this because, okay, Danny, which one is the most common use vitamin on the pathway of formation of a steroid?
The most
specifically of testosterone, which is the #1 vitamin used for conversion of cholesterol to pregnenolone to progesterone. I know, you know, they put always the enzymes, you know, they put all that shit all over, and you look really smart. Well, I know 17-hydroxy and 21. I don't know any of that shit, right? But I do know which one are the 2 most important vitamins that you use when you're converting something to something. And this is another issue I'm going to make you guys think. And I have the research. I'm not making this up, Steven.
I would have thought it was right.
Which one is the #1 vitamin used on the pathway of steroids? Steven, do you know? Which one?
D.
Steven.
I would have said the same because yeah.
Oh,
I know.
Niacin.
Niacin, yeah.
Yes,
that's
you require NADPH for energy to convert stuff. So you niacin. What's #2?
I'm not good at those vitamins.
Okay, so here is a case that I had about 8 months ago. When you come to see me and your testosterone levels are low, I don't just give you testosterone. I want to know why they're low. I want to know what's going on. Why are your levels low? Do you have a traumatic brain injury? Do you have a, you know, are you getting divorced? Because depression will induce, you know, lowering your testosterone. If you see a naked girl, your testosterone levels go up. If your football team loses, your levels go down. You know, so I need to know why. Are you depressed? Are you, you know, are you flying a lot? All those things affect testosterone levels. So I need to know why. So when I'm doing that, I have to find out why is this going. So this guy, levels were okay, everything is okay, and I still do not know what's going on with this person. And when I'm looking at him, I'm asking all these questions. I do blood tests, and they're okay. Well, I get a test called SpectraCell Labs. Are you guys familiar with that? The SpectraCell Labs. Okay, when you guys check, when you check vitamin deficiency, the way to do it, they check it on the blood. This company, I don't make any money. I'm not telling you to do it. This company, what they take out the white blood cells, the lymphocytes actually, put on this test. They take a vitamin out. If that lymphocyte doesn't grow, you have a deficiency on that vitamin. It's amazing, this test. I don't make any money. They don't know who I am. So if you call them, they're going to tell you shit. They don't know Eric. But it's a cool test. Well, on this guy, I did the SpectraCell because I had no idea what was going on. Well, his niacin came back really low. I saying, what? By the way, his triglycerides were also high. So I put this guy on niacin. All of a sudden, he said, I have erections. I'm doing great. And I go, what? So then I have to go look at the literature. And actually, I have to show you a slide. And if you guys hold on a second, I'll be back. I want to show this. I'll be back.
This is what happens when you take HCG, by the way.
Yeah. I'm not taking that. Got more than enough without HCG.
Hopefully you guys will be able to see this here. So let me see how okay, here we go. Okay. Let me see. I want to teach people things that they never knew. Okay. I don't know. Can they see that?
Yep.
Yes,
You
I
see
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All good.
Okay. Do you see the hormones there and the pathway and the vitamins? You guys see that?
Yes.
Ah, pretty cool, huh? Steven, you don't have that slide, do you?
I
No.
don't have that. No, never seen it.
I'll be nice to both of you guys and I send it to you.
Great.
Aw.
We'll post that in our group. Yes.
No, don't post anything. Just keep it to yourself because that way Dr. Rosier doesn't know yet. So I want to kill him, you know?
Everybody
So-
take a screenshot right now.
Well, you know, here you look at vitamin B3, but vitamin C is amazing important, and people don't have any idea. Of course, the most abundant place for vitamin C is where? Adrenal gland. So they're necessary for the formation of all. So what happens if you have a guy and you give him testosterone, but you do not correct that small macronutrient deficiency? Yes, you make him feel better, but this is like, Steven, you lift weights, right? Which one is the best trainer? The best trainer is not the one that makes you stronger, it's the one that fixes your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can bench a lot, right? I can bench 500 pounds, but you can squat 400. Well, that trainer, if you can freaking move with your arms more than you can move with your legs, man, you have problems. You know what I'm saying? So is it making you bench more better, or is it making your legs stronger better? You see what I'm saying? So the best coach or the best trainer is the one that fixes your weaknesses, not the one that makes you stronger. So I have to look at all these pathways and identify them before I say, I'm going to put you on testosterone. That's a little different between me. That's why I say I'm not an expert on hormones. I'm an expert on nutrition. You have low levels. Why do you have the low levels? Sometimes I don't find it. Sometimes it's one of those that I do not know. Might be a fever. Did I get kicked on my balls? I mean, Danny plays hockey, that stupid game in Canada, because that's all they know what to do. You get hit by a puck, you know? I have to know. I train police dogs. That's one of my hobbies, right? And I've been hit on the nuts a couple of times by a dog that just doesn't give a shit where you are. And they hit you and you go on the floor and you're in pain. Well, who knows? Maybe that's why my testosterone is low. Also, what happens if you have a vasectomy? Does vasectomy affect testosterone levels? People never discuss this, okay? And in the research, it says that, based on the research, says that vasectomy does not affect your testosterone levels, right, Steven?
I knew that. Yeah.
I completely, totally, absolutely, totally disagree with that.
Why?
Okay. Why? Because I was a dumbass that did vasectomies in my office. I was one of those guys, right? Vasectomy. They did it to me. And now I'm gay. I have no sperm, right? So when they did it to me, I noticed there was changes on erections a little bit. Absolutely. And I never got my levels, but I started getting levels on people that I was doing it. And there was a drop off. There was a 20 to 30% drop off, which is not much. But those people, when you ask them, how are your erections? Are they the same? He said because the vas deferens have some other protein that we don't know aware about, like inhibin A, inhibin B. Are we affecting that? I have no idea, but I know it does. And now I stopped doing vasectomies. I don't do it anymore, Steven. I completely quit. So,
okay, and so how come the research says there isn't any connection?
well, how come the research says that statins save life?
Yeah, well, that's pharmacy.
You know, I would say this 80 to 90% of the literature out there is false. That's what we use relative risk, because we can never prove or show anything. So we need to use relative risk. Now, I know what the literature says. I'm a physician and I do vasectomies. I'm going to tell you vasectomies are the best. And I was one of those. I was one of them. Oh, you need a vasectomy. Your wife doesn't need it. I do. I even did tubal ligations. I did OB for 9 years. I don't do any of those. They tell you that tubal ligations do not change period. Do you believe that? Absolutely false. They change your period. They change the sex drive of the woman. There's more bleeding, all these kind of crazy things. So once you see it, and I know that we need research, but I don't want to be behind the research. I want to be ahead of the research. Data. Write it. You know, did your wife fall down? Did your wife get pregnant? Why? How? What were you doing? What did you do the week before? Did you travel? Did you have a great time? Did your mom die? I need to know every single little detail of your life so I can come up with an outcome to help you. And that's how I work.
And just because the FDA says something or Health Canada says something also doesn't necessarily make it true. I was looking up yesterday, why is DHEA illegal and banned in Canada? It's got one of the safest profiles of anything you could possibly take, but it's banned because it could potentially cause cancers, prostate cancers, lung cancer, all this type of cancers. I feel like just knocking on the door, I'm like, what document, what study indicates this? Because
there's no study. I have books and research on the DHEA. No, it's the only hormone I do take. Okay. Do I have to take 50 milligrams? No, I'm a wussy because I don't know my own levels. I take 20. But of course I take vitamin D 20,000. So how stupid can that be, Steven? You know? I'll say on my research, there's almost, I cannot think of one, might be one paper that associated DHEA to prostate cancer, okay, that I think of on the top of my head, and it was bullshit. I can't even, let me think about something else.
It basically said because it can convert to the sex hormones such as testosterone.
But that is crazy.
Yeah, in women, you take the DHEA, their test goes up. So, well, elevated testosterone has been linked to cancers. No, it's not.
No, but you know, DHEA works different in men than in women. I want to make that point.
Yes.
In DHEA, if you give a woman DHEA, the testosterone goes up because there's less testosterone. In a man, DHEA actually goes to estrogen more often, which is absolutely good. It's not bad. Well, most people don't understand that either. DHEA also they thought that DHEA has to be converted to testosterone and estrogen, which is not true either. In the brain, there are DHEA receptors, specific DHEA receptors. I'm not making it up. I have papers that absolutely require DHEA. Now, it's called a neurotransmitter, and there's a book, I forgot the name of it, brain neurotransmitter, and DHEA is one of the biggest issues there. So DHEA is a super important. Why is that the most abundant hormone that we know of, you know, which is crazy? Like thyroid, we measure thyroid T4, we measure T3, right? Free T4, free T3. In the old days, many years ago, there was a drug called Tricana that bodybuilders use a lot. It's T2. In rats, you measure T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7. So there are other thyroids out there. We're not aware. We don't measure them, but they're there. So we need to be aware of that. Questions?
Anything coming in the chat box, Stephen?
Yeah, I had a few in the chat box. Someone asked, any idea why on TRT androgen receptors are up-regulated instead of down-regulated?
So repeat the question again, Stephen.
Any idea why on TRT androgen receptors are up-regulated instead of down-regulated?
Okay, I don't think that's an absolute true. I think it depends there, okay, because you can, and I want to give you an example. You can have a person that you give them testosterone, but they're missing estrogen. So there's going to be upregulation of it. Also, this, I know they don't think about the pathway. You have low progesterone levels. And let me explain this. You look at the pathway, progesterone is the knife that divides everything, right? So you're highly stressed. So progesterone have to go into the cortisol side, right? Now I give you testosterone, which allows the body to be able to compensate for that stress. Progesterone levels go up and they can upregulate receptors. So I do want to say that. So when you start simplifying everything, you can do that because in medicine, nothing works alone. Testosterone affects estrogen, testosterone affects absolutely receptor, testosterone affects thyroid. So does testosterone upregulate? Yes, but it's secondary to something else. It's a direct action on the testosterone. Initially, you have upregulation maybe, but eventually no. It's like anything else in the body. You're going to have a little bit of down regulation depending how much you have, of course.
Keith Nichols is in the chat box and he says, Eric is awesome.
No, Keith, I owe Keith a huge apology. So, Keith, I made it up to you by sending you a bunch of your crazy toxicity stuff. I did that. So I hope he's reading that right now.
He will be for sure. Yeah. Another question, Eric. You just said you're only taking DHEA. So when would you give only DHEA to men instead of TRT?
Okay. The question is, what will I give only DHEA to TRT? I don't feel bad. I feel great. Okay. But DHEA is a marker for mortality, meaning death, and morbidity, disease. Also, I have seen so much research on DHEA and the immune system. And I see cancer patients, not that I like to see them, but I see cancer patients, and the DHEA is almost always low. One. Two is on people with sarcopenia, and people with low muscle, sarcopenia. And because I see so many athletes, I tend to check DHEA levels. They almost always have low DHEA. Three, when I was competing on powerlifting, I wanted to complete raw and natural. I didn't want to take anything. And the only thing I proved then was DHEA. So I said, at least I'm taking something, you know, I don't want to get my ass kicked. No, I went far, but I got my ass kicked on the nationals twice. But I would say this, it makes me feel better. It's a mentally, it's a placebo. I do feel better when I take it. My outlook is better. I'm very aware of things. Of course, I take amino acids. Of course, I take fish oils. Of course, I take liver tablets, but it just makes a difference. So why not? And of course, DHEA is a hormone that is a pro-hormone again that can go to wherever. Affects the brain. It has been associated with less depression and well-being. So why not do something like that? That's the reason why.
Why not pregnenolone?
Okay, pregnenolone. When I was in Europe teaching, there was a lot of people that were taking 5-10 milligrams of pregnenolone. And I asked, because I never used it, I asked and asked and asked. And for some reason, people taking 5-10 milligrams, they were nothing. Then they told me that those are too low, that you need between 50 and 100, up to 200 milligrams. I've seen it. This is the problem. I have not seen the results that I expected with pregnenolone. And I know there's going to be a lot of people, oh no, you haven't seen it. This is the problem. Pregnenolone is a in between, how would I say? It's an in between hormone. Now, I know you guys don't know the cascade, but to change pregnenolone to all the other ones, you require niacin, vitamin A, Danny, you were correct there. You also require B6, B3, and folate to change it to DHEA. So for me, pregnenolone is a low. Why is it low? Is it because the cholesterol is low? Is it because statins are being given because that is the limited path, the limited step to convert to other hormones? If that was the answer, then I will give you pregnenolone and every boy testosterone will go up, hopefully, which it does not. So, for example, I have patients that come to see me and they're on pregnenolone, okay, 50, 100, and 200 milligrams, and I check testosterone levels. If pregnenolone goes down the pathway, I should expect something there, you know, somewhere. I check the DHEA, I check testosterone, but there's nothing. There's nothing. Now, the biggest thing that I see with pregnenolone, people say, I feel more relaxed. Everybody tells me that. And is it because it works on the brain? I do not know. My usage on pregnenolone has been limited because I have not seen the results that I expected with it.
I had the opposite effect. I felt wired throughout the day and I had insomnia, even with a small dose.
I don't want to use it because I think it's a neurotransmitter and it affects the brain. That's my issue. Affects the brain, but it doesn't do on the cascade what it's supposed to do. So that's why I am. Why not give you cholesterol then? You know what I'm saying? So I am very. I am on the border there. If you feel good, then go for it. But it's kind of funny. Let me tell you something, Danny. You can have cholesterol, and it's a limited step factor between cholesterol and pregnenolone. If you guys are watching, then pregnenolone goes here, right? Okay, now to convert cholesterol to pregnenolone, okay, you require something called a STAR, okay, steroid receptor, whatever. Now, to convert cholesterol to pregnenolone, you require vitamin C, vitamin E, zinc, and magnesium. Let me repeat that. You require vitamin A, vitamin E, C, zinc, and magnesium. What percent of the population has low level of magnesium? You start checking it. Large amount. What percent of the people have low vitamin E? And vitamin E is a fat soluble vitamin. Only comes from fat. You cannot do it any other way. And also, people tell you don't take vitamin C, which is an amazing, it's a drug actually, if you use it correctly. Why not just do that and start making cholesterol to pregnenolone more efficient? You see what I'm saying? So let me correct that first, and then I might use pregnenolone if I want to use it, which I never do. And it's kind of funny that you said that, Danny. And I want to ask you a question. Were you Do you ever check your vitamin A, your niacin levels, your zinc levels, your B6 levels, your folate levels? Were they ever? Now, I want to say this. I look at Danny's blood test, and he absolutely has a B12 deficiency, and maybe probably a folate deficiency, by the way. Now, if your iron levels are also low, that can also stop the conversion to other hormones. So I have to look at all those things before I just go, oh, I'm going to give you this. I do not like to do that. I'm going to give you testosterone immediately. No, why are you low? He said, because, what is it? It said, because you move. I got to look at everything before I come to, I'm going to give you this. Then I work with you. That's how I do it. Again, I think I may be prescribed Prenolol maybe twice in my lifetime. And that's because the person was on it before, feeling optimal. Like Danny said, hey, you're feeling good, I keep you on it. But they were taking us, I think, 100 milligrams. But like Danny said, I went the other way, which makes me think, okay, I need to check cofactors on Danny to make sure why he got so awakened.
Okay.
Gotcha.
We're almost at the 1 hour mark, so we'll be wrapping this
Steven,
up shortly.
Steven, I owe you. Keep going.
No, thank you so much for all the info. I just wanted one more question. Someone in the chat box was asking, and it's coming back on something we already talked about. He says, 3 months ago, my vitamin D was deficient. My testosterone and estrogen levels were both low also. And he has been taking 40,000 units, as you have proposed even, of vitamin D for 2 months.
Wait. I didn't propose that. Get out there. Go ahead.
You said there was a possibility to do that. And he says, no, my test is a normal range, so he's happy. But his estrogen is high now. Is that normal?
Okay. Well, first of all, can you ask that person, are you having any symptoms? Can you ask him?
Yes, he's listening right now.
Asking, are you having any symptoms? How do you feel?
Do you have any symptoms, John B., who asked the question? He's still there.
Good. I wait. I owe you, Steven. We can be here for 3 hours. I owe you.
No problem. I can't be. It's already evening here.
I understand. What did he say?
He says, yes, the symptom is weight gain.
Okay. Do you see now? That pisses me off. Okay, first of all, he was deficient on vitamin D. So that told me 3 things about this person. One, I will ask, do you have your gallbladder removed? One, he's gaining weight. By the way, T4 affects gallbladder receptors. Let me repeat that. T4, not T3. T4. I got the papers. Okay, affects thyroid. Okay, does he have his gallbladder removed? What kind of diet does he have? He's taking vitamin D, which went up on the levels. So he's not optimal, Steven, Danny. He's not optimal. He doesn't feel good, right? He's gaining weight. So the question is, we need to look at this person. Why are you gaining weight? The first thing to look at is the diet. Are you sleeping? You're not sleeping, okay? Also, are you taking vitamin D late? Vitamin D is a light vitamin, a light. Let me rephrase that. If you take it at night, that's a signal that your body's saying, hey, I might be getting sunlight. Who knows? This is a Serrano hypothesis, Serrano theory. I'm taking it at night. The body's saying, hey, I'm getting sunlight. Something's going on here. Maybe he's taking it at night and he's not sleeping now. So I have to have all these questions. So thyroid. Is he taking thyroid? Is he taking any medication that will help him gain weight? Is he taking anything that will stop? Statins will make you gain weight. So I need to ask all those questions before I answer that. That's how I practice.
Okay. I think that's all for the questions for the moment. So let's wrap this up. Thank you so much, Danny, for moderating this a bit, for showing us your nice new baby. And thank you so much, Dr. Eric Serrano, for your time.
And tell your wife Happy Mother's Day too. Do you guys celebrate that there?
Yes, it's the same day today. Yes, we've already done that today. Yes, she's the mother of our 3 children, so we have celebrated her today.
And Eric, I'm calling you later. Angie's got a question.
Okay. Call me later.
First, put us offline, so no, the others don't get to hear your question, Danny. Bye, everyone. See you next time.